There are mornings that feel ordinary on the surface. Quiet, unremarkable, almost tender. Yet beneath them, destiny stirs like a sleeping storm. The dawn that rose over Mooncrest Valley, nestled deep within the Silverwild territories, was one such morning. Soft mist curled between the roots of ancient pines, drifting like pale ghosts across the mossy forest floor. The sky blushed faintly with rose-gold light, and the cold bite of early wind carried the scent of rain and pine sap. The valley breathed gently, unaware that hearts would break before the sun reached its highest point. Within that valley, under the shadow of the Mooncrest stronghold, its stone pillars carved with centuries of wolf insignias, walked a girl who felt as though the world had not noticed her for many years. Her name was Elara Winter, 19 years old, slender, soft-spoken, and unassuming. Cinnamon brown skin, moon-silver eyes that held the quiet ache of someone who had learned too young how fragile life could be. And she walked alone, always alone. Not because she preferred solitude, not because she disliked company, but because the pack rarely knew what to do with a girl like her. A girl without a wolf. A girl whose shift never came. A girl labeled Winter without a wolf. Her footsteps were soft as she climbed the marble stairs toward the Mooncrest reception hall, her breath faint in the cold morning air. Her simple dress clung to her gently, pale blue like winter dawn, and her hair fell in loose waves across her shoulders. Elara pressed a trembling hand against her chest. Today, she told herself, today my life changes, whether for better or worse. She didn't know. She only knew her heart felt like something small and fragile cupped between trembling palms. Because today was the day her alpha, Ronan Varen, a man both feared and admired, had summoned her in front of the entire pack. She had barely slept. A million thoughts chased each other in the confines of her mind, but all circled back to one truth. She was his mate. She had sensed it the moment their eyes first met under the silver glow of the night moon. His amber gaze, wolf-bright and unwavering, had collided with hers, and something ancient stirred inside her. A recognition, a calling, a whisper of destiny long written in the stars. She remembered the burn of it, the pull, the certainty. But Ronan Varen, he had shown nothing. No spark, no worms, no surprise. Only cool assessment and retreat. Days passed, then weeks, and now the summons. Her heart sank with every step she took. The great oak doors groaned open as she approached. Inside, the reception hall glittered with lantern light, banners draped across stone walls bearing the emblem of the Mooncrest pack. A silver wolf howling beneath a crescent moon. Dozens of wolves stood in a loose circle, their murmurs low, eyes sharp and predatory as they turned toward her. Silence fell in waves, whispers, mocking glances, a few sympathetic sighs from those who knew her story. And then she saw him, Alpha Ronan Varen, seated like a monarch on a carved stone chair. His posture relaxed but commanding, one hand draped over the armrest with effortless dominance. Tall, broad-shouldered, dark hair tousled, jaw shadowed with fresh stubble, amber eyes glowing like embers beneath heavy brows. He was everything a leader should be: steady, fearsome, controlled, unreachable. Elara felt her breath catch. Not because he was beautiful, though he was. Not because he was powerful, though he certainly was. But because he was hers. Her mate, her soul-marked, her destiny. And he was about to break her. His gaze lifted the moment she entered, and for a fleeting second, just one, she imagined she saw something flicker in that golden depth. Something like regret, or longing, or pain. But it vanished as quickly as it appeared. His face became cold stone. "Elara Winter," he said, voice deep enough to stir the lantern flames. "Step forward." She obeyed, legs trembling under her weight, heart thundering against her ribs. The pack stirred behind her. Soft murmurs, scent of curiosity, scent of anticipation, scent of wolves waiting for blood. She reached the center of the hall. Her simple slippers echoed faintly on the stone floor. When she finally met Ronan's stare, she forced her voice into something steady, something that didn't reveal how her world trembled. "You summoned me, Alpha." His lips twitched. Not a smile, not a frown, just a flicker of something unreadable. "Alara," he said slowly, "do you know why you're here?" Her throat tightened. She knew. Of course she knew. But she whispered anyway, "No, Alpha." Silence thickened between them like cold fog. Ronan rose from his chair, and even the lantern flames seemed to bow to him. He was tall, almost overwhelming, and when he stepped toward her, the faintest tremor ran through the pack behind her. His wolf, Varen, stirred beneath his skin, pressure rolling off him in waves. Then, with a breath heavy enough to shift the air, he spoke the words she had been dreading. "Alara Winter, I reject you." Her heart cracked. Clean, precise break. Quiet but devastating. Gasps echoed around the hall. Some wolves smirked. Some whispered. Some pitied her. Alara felt her knees weaken. Yet she held herself upright with every remaining thread of her dignity. Why does rejection feel like dying? Why does destiny hurt this much? She swallowed, eyes blurring. Why? Barely a whisper. Barely a breath. A foolish question, perhaps. A naive one. But it escaped her before she could cage it. Ronan's jaw tightened. "Because you cannot shift," he said, voice emotionless. "Because you do not have a wolf. Because you cannot stand at my side, nor protect this pack, nor bear the strength required of a Luna." Shame, terror, humiliation, it all washed over her in a cold wave. He continued, voice as sharp as winter wind. "I reject you because the moon goddess made a mistake." Something inside her shattered completely. The pack fell silent. Even the walls seemed to recoil. Alara wanted to fold inward, to disappear, to melt into the stone floor and dissolve. But she refused to break. Not here, not in front of them, not when he already believed her weak. She straightened her spine, forcing steadiness into her trembling voice. "Alpha Ronan Varen," she said softly. "I, Alara Winter, accept your rejection." The words tasted like ash. Her chest burned. Her eyes prickled. But she didn't cry. Not here. Not now. For a heartbeat, Ronan stared at her. Too still, too intense, too conflicted. And something strange rippled across his eyes. Not relief, not triumph, but something closer to pain, regret, or something even deeper. Then, with a voice rougher than before, he said, "Get out." 2 words. Sharp, final, cruel. Her head bowed, not in submission, but in self-preservation. She turned. Her footsteps echoed softly as she walked through the silent hall, passing wolves who stared at her like she was something tragic and fragile. She didn't look back. She couldn't. If she did, she might fall apart entirely. Behind her, whispers burst like splintering wood. She deserved it. No wolf means no Luna. Poor thing. She's always been strange. Alpha Ronan should have rejected her sooner. Alara didn't stop. She didn't flinch. She moved like someone drifting through a dream, hollow, quiet, numb. But she didn't cry. Not until she reached the stone corridor outside the hall. Not until she leaned against the cold wall, her breath trembling, her hands shaking. Only then did her tears fall. Quietly, softly, like rain returning to the earth. Meanwhile, inside the hall, Ronan stood frozen, watching the doors she had disappeared through. Her scent, soft lavender and winter air, still lingered in the room. It twisted something deep inside him, something primal and aching. He should feel relief. He should feel victorious. He should feel free. But instead, he felt hollow. A gnawing emptiness spread in his chest, sharp and disorienting. Beside him, Kale Thorn, his beta, stepped forward quietly. "That didn't look easy for you," Kale murmured. Ronan ignored him, but Kale wasn't fooled. "You did what you thought was right," he said. The pack needs strength. The Moon Council made it clear. Enough. Ronan's voice cracked like thunder. Kale fell silent. Ronan's fists clenched. His jaw pulsed. His wolf growled inside him, restless, angry, almost grieving. Rejecting her had hurt. More than he expected. More than he could admit. But something else haunted him too. The look in her eyes. Not fear. Not anger. But quiet acceptance. As though she had expected pain all her life. As though heartbreak was familiar to her. And that broke something in him. He turned away sharply, unable to face the circle of wolves watching him. "Leave," he commanded. The wolves scattered. Only Kale remained. Ronan's voice lowered, rough with something he couldn't name. "Why? Didn't it feel right?" Kale's expression softened with sympathy. "Because she wasn't just another girl, Ronan." His eyes glinted knowingly. "She was your mate." Ronan closed his eyes. His wolf howled inside him. And the storm that had been brewing since dawn finally broke within him. The forest always knew how to hold sorrow. Its branches bent gently under the weight of morning light, its breeze whispering lullabies through the leaves. Even the birds seemed cautious in their singing, as if the world itself felt the echo of Alara Winter's breaking heart. She walked alone, stepping off the stone paths of Mooncrest Stronghold and into the shelter of towering pines. Her tears had dried on her cheeks, leaving faint salt stains that glimmered when the sunlight broke through the canopy. Her chest still ached, not just emotionally, physically, deeply, like something sacred inside her had cracked. For most wolves, rejection of a mate came with two pains, the emotional and the spiritual. But for Alara, who had no wolf to absorb the blow, the pain hit differently. Raw, sharp, personal. She pressed a hand against her sternum, squeezing her eyes shut as another tremor rolled through her. "I'll be okay," she whispered into the wind. But even the forest didn't believe her. She found a fallen tree, moss-covered and softened by time, and sank onto it. Her simple blue dress pooled around her like quiet water. Her hair fell forward, hiding her face. She took a breath, then another, slow, controlled, shaking. She used to dream of this moment. Not the rejection, never that, but of Ronan Varen, the mate bond, the connection she believed would finally make her feel whole. But fairy tales had always been cruel to her. She had learned that lesson young, long before the Alpha ever spoke the words that shattered her. And now she felt foolish, naive, weak. Why wasn't I enough? Why didn't the moon goddess give me a wolf? Why would she tie me to someone who didn't want me? Questions swirled like ghosts around her, but the wind didn't answer. She tilted her head back, staring at the sky through the branches. The clouds drifted slowly, glowing pale gold. Beautiful, indifferent. "Alara." The voice was soft, uncertain. She jumped slightly, wiping her cheeks quickly before turning. Kale Thorn, the beta of Mooncrest Pack, stepped into the clearing. His posture was tall, strong, but his face, usually unreadable, was painted with something like concern. He wasn't supposed to be here. No one was. "What do you want, Kale?" she asked gently, trying to hide the exhaustion in her tone. He approached slowly, like someone approaching a wounded animal. "I came to check on you." She let out a breath that might have been a weak laugh. "Why? I'm fine." "You're not." His words held no accusation, only truth. "And it's allowed. Being not fine." She looked away, heart twisting. "Ronan didn't need to be that harsh," Kale said quietly. "He could have rejected you in private. He didn't have to." "It's not his fault," she interrupted. Kale stopped, brows lifted, surprised. Alara hugged her arms around herself. "He's the Alpha. The pack needs to see him strong. Choosing a mate who can't shift, that would make him look weak." "I understand." Kale's jaw tightened. "No one deserved what happened," he murmured. "Least of all you." Her lips twitched with the ghost of a smile. "You're kind," she said softly. "But don't worry about me.
Eve survived worse.
His eyes darkened because he knew her past. He had been there the day they found her, barely breathing, bound by rogue wolves who destroyed her family. He had seen the haunted look in her eyes back then too. Elara, his voice gentled. You shouldn't be alone. She shook her head. I've always been alone, she whispered. It's nothing new. Cale's throat bobbed, emotion flickering in his eyes before he masked it. He hesitated before speaking again. You know, he said carefully, being mate rejected by the alpha, it doesn't just hurt your heart. It could affect your standing in the pack. Some wolves might treat you differently. Some already have. She sighed. I figured. You may need protection, he said. Or allies. Or at least someone you trust. Her eyes fluttered with exhaustion. Thank you, she whispered. But right now, I just need a little space. Cale studied her face for a long moment, seeing too much, understanding too deeply. Then he nodded once. If you need anything, he said quietly, I'm here. As he turned to leave, Elara felt something warm flicker inside her. Not hope, not yet, but perhaps the faint outline of something like it. Ronan, Alpha Ronan Varen, had never felt powerless in his life. Not when he led warriors into battle. Not when he defended the borders against rogue packs. Not when he inherited the Mooncrest pack at 26 after his father's death. Not even when the Moon Council challenged his authority. But now he felt powerless, broken, unsettled. Standing in his chambers, he braced both hands against the wooden table, his breath uneven. His golden eyes darkened, clouded with something violent and unspoken. He could still smell her, her scent. Winter air, lavender, soft warmth, lingered on his skin. It haunted him. Ronan squeezed his eyes shut. He had done the right thing, the logical thing, the necessary thing. A Luna with no wolf? A mate who couldn't shift? The Moon Council would have torn him apart. His pack needed strength, not weakness, not pity, not vulnerability. And yet, every time he replayed her face in his mind, her wide eyes, her trembling voice, the quiet dignity with which she accepted his cruelty, his chest tightened painfully. His wolf growled inside him. Varen had been restless since dawn, pacing, snarling, scratching at the inside of Ronan's mind like a trapped beast. We hurt her, Varen snarled. We shattered her. She was ours.
No, Ronan mattered.
She can't be ours. Not without a wolf. She was still chosen by the moon. She can't protect the pack. She could protect us. Enough! He slammed a fist onto the table. The wood cracked. Books fell. Lantern light flickered wildly. Ronan's breath heaved. His wolf fell silent, but only for a moment. Ronan ran a hand through his hair, pacing the room like a man fighting a war with himself. He remembered Elara as a child, fragile but brave, silent but observant, broken but healing. He remembered rescuing her, carrying her limp form through the forest, promising her safety. Was she not also pack? Was she not also deserving of protection? Was she not?
No.
He couldn't think it. He wouldn't think it. He closed his eyes. The rejection should have severed the bond. It should have ended everything. But the ache remained. Why? A knock sounded at the door. Alpha, Cale's voice called. May I enter? Ronan exhaled heavily. Enter. The door opened and Cale stepped inside, face grave. We need to talk, Cale said. Ronan didn't turn to face him. About what? Elara. Ronan's fingers curled against the table.
No.
Yes, Cale insisted. You need to hear this. Ronan tensed but stayed silent. Cale continued. She didn't break down in front of them. She walked out with her head high. Ronan swallowed. Hard. Of course she did. Because she was stronger than any of them realized. But she's hurting, Cale added. Deeply. Ronan closed his eyes. He didn't want to hear this. He didn't want to feel anything. But he did. He felt everything. Cale hesitated before adding, She said she understood why you rejected her. Ronan's head snapped up. His voice was low, dangerous. She what? She defended you, Cale said. Even after what you did. The knife twisted deeper. Ronan's chest tightened. He turned away, unable to hide the pain in his eyes. Cale watched him quietly. Then he said softly, "You should know something else." Ronan didn't move. "Alara isn't the only one in danger now." Ronan stilled. "Meaning?" Cale's jaw hardened. "There were scouts on the border this morning. Ashbourne pack scouts." Ronan's eyes darkened. Ashbourne. His rival. His enemy. The pack responsible for countless attacks. What did they want? Ronan asked. Cale hesitated, voice lowering. They asked if Mooncrest still harbored the Winter Girl. Ronan froze. A chill ripped down his spine. They want her, Cale continued. And I don't think it's for anything good. Ronan's wolf roared inside him. They will not touch her. The Alpha's breath shook. Why now? Ronan whispered. Cale met his eyes. Because they heard she has been rejected. They think she's unprotected. A long, suffocating silence filled the room. Ronan spoke at last. Voice low, dark, and trembling with fury. She may not be my mate anymore. He paused. His fists curled. His wolf snarled. But she is still under my pack. And then, she is still under my protection. Cale nodded. I'll increase border patrols. Do that, Ronan said. But Cale didn't move. He simply asked, Ronan, do you truly believe she has no wolf? Ronan stiffened. I've never sensed one. That doesn't mean it isn't there, Cale replied quietly. Some wolves awaken late. Some awaken under trauma. Some awaken because of the mate bond. Ronan's breath hitched. No.
Impossible.
Alara? A hidden wolf? Cale added. And you should know. The Ashbourne pack is led by someone who has a history with her. Ronan turned sharply. What history? Cale hesitated. That's what we need to uncover. Alara that evening. The moon rose over the valley like a pale lantern, brushing silver over the treetops. The forest glowed softly with night insects and distant wolf howls. Alara sat on the balcony of her small cottage on the outskirts of Mooncrest. A soft blanket wrapped around her shoulders. A warm tea sat untouched beside her. Her heart felt heavy, still cracked, still raw, still bleeding quietly. But there was peace in the night, a strange, soft peace. She lifted her gaze to the moon. Why would you bind me to someone only to break me? She whispered. No answer, only wind. She pressed a palm to her heart. Earlier she felt something, a tremor, a flicker, a whisper deep inside her. Something awakening? No.
Impossible.
She had no wolf. She had always been told that, always believed it. She closed her eyes, letting the moonlight soak into her skin. Why does it hurt so much? Tonight, she felt everything more intensely. Every heartbeat, every breath, every emotion. It was as though something inside her was pacing, restless and unfamiliar. Suddenly, a voice echoed faintly inside her mind. Soft, distant, like a memory. Alara. Her eyes flew open. She froze. Her breath caught. Again. Alara, I'm here. She stumbled back, heart racing. No, she whispered. That's not possible. But the voice whispered again. Not broken. Not alone. Not forgotten. Her knees weakened. Her hand covered her mouth. Tears welled. Are you my wolf? She whispered. But before the voice could answer, a loud crash came from the forest. Then, a howl. Dark. Low. Threatening. Alara stiffened. Her heart pounded violently. Something or someone was approaching. Fast. Branches snapped. Footsteps thundered. A growl rolled through the night. Alara backed toward her door, trembling. Who's there? She whispered. No answer. Only the sound of something large moving through the dark woods. Then she heard it. A voice, cruel and familiar, laced with hunger. Well, the winter girl. Alone at last. Alara's blood ran cold. She knew that voice. She had heard it once before, on a night filled with flames, on a night filled with screams. It was the voice of the rogue who killed her parents. A voice from her nightmares. He stepped out from the shadows, a scarred man with pale eyes and a twisted smile. Your alpha rejected you, he rasped. Which means you're mine now. Alara's breath shattered. She stumbled backward and screamed. Night in the Silverwild territories had its own pulse, slow, ancient, humming with secrets older than any pack. The moon shone like a pale lantern, washing the valley in silver, and the wind carried the scent of pine, river mist, and danger. Alara Winter heard the danger before she saw it. The growl cut through the forest like a blade, low, rumbling, predatory. She froze on her cottage balcony, breath catching in her throat. The shadows shifted. A large figure stepped out, moonlight sharpening cruel features. Eyes pale as frost. A scar stretching from jaw to brow. Smirk twisted with malice. The same rogue who haunted her nightmares. Well, he rasped, voice giddy with old hatred. Look at you, all grown up. And alone. Alara's knees nearly gave out. You, she whispered, soul trembling. Oh, don't pretend you forgot me, winter girl. I remember the sound you made when we dragged you from the ruins of your parents' home. I remember thinking how fragile you were. And now, he sniffed the air, grinning. Still fragile, still broken, still wolfless. Her chest tightened. She backed away slowly, fingers trembling on the wooden railing. Stay away. He laughed. A sick, delighted sound. No alpha here to protect you anymore. No wolf inside you to fight back. Mooncrest shouldn't have kept you. You should have died with your parents. Alara's breath shattered. Fear crawled up her spine, but something else stirred beneath it. Heat, pressure, a trembling deep within her bones. I'm not the child you hurt, she whispered. The rogue tilted his head. Maybe not, but you're the easiest way to hurt Ronan Varen. Her pulse spiked. Ronan rejected me, she insisted, voice shaking. He doesn't care. Another laugh. You really believe that? His anger earlier, delicious. His wolf nearly ripped through his skin. A male doesn't react like that unless the bond still claws at him. Alara's heart faltered. Bond. Still there?
No, impossible.
She had accepted the rejection. The bond should have died. Should have. The rogue stepped forward. I'll take you to my alpha. Ashbourne wants you. And when he gets what he wants. His pale eyes gleamed. Mooncrest will fall. Alara stumbled backward into her cottage doorway, but the rogue was faster. He lunged. She screamed as cold fingers clamped over her wrist, dragging her into the night. The world spun, and then something inside her shifted. A jolt, a flare, like a spark igniting old, forgotten embers. Not broken, not alone, not forgotten. The voice from earlier whispered again.
Alara, stand.
Pain shot through her skull. Her vision blurred. Her heartbeat thundered, shaking the ground beneath her. The rogue tightened his grip. Stop struggling, girl. You're nothing. A sound shredded the air. A growl, deep, feminine, ancient. A sound Alara had never heard come from her own chest. Her body convulsed. Her knees buckled. The rogue's grip loosened, not in mercy, but in shock. What? Alara collapsed to the forest floor, clutching her skull as fire ripped through her bones. Not burning, but awakening. Her fingertips tingled. Her breath deepened. Her vision blurred into white gold. Images flashed rapidly. A white wolf standing beneath a silver moon. Eyes glowing like starlight. Wings of mist whispering behind her. A wolf touched by something divine. Alara Winter, the voice called. I am Astri. Your wolf. Her breath caught. No, I don't have a wolf. You weren't ready for me. Not until now. Not until your heart broke open enough to hear me. Tears streamed down her face as power thrummed through her veins, warm and fierce and alive. The rogue stumbled backward, eyes widening.
No.
This isn't possible. Alara slowly rose from the ground. The wind circled her. Leaves spiraled upward, glowing faintly under moonlight. Her silver eyes now shimmered with starlight. I am not helpless, she whispered. Her voice vibrated with her wolf's resonance, soft but unbreakable. And I am not alone. The rogue snarled and lunged, but Alara's hand shot forward, glowing with a faint silver aura. Not a spell, not magic, instinct. Her wolf. A burst of energy erupted from her palm, sending the rogue crashing into a tree with a crack of splintering bark. Alara gasped, staring at her trembling hands. Her wolf whispered, "This is only the beginning." Meanwhile, Ronan Varen ran through the forest in wolf form, fur bristling, his amber eyes burning like wildfire. He had felt Alara's scream before he heard it. Not through a mate bond. That should have been severed, broken, gone. But something deeper still tied him to her. Some thread the rejection could not cut. His paws pounded against the soil, tearing through dead leaves, claws digging into earth. Trees blurred past him. The wind howled. Faster, his wolf demanded. She needs us. Ronan didn't argue. He ran faster. When the scent of rogue wolves hit his nose, he nearly lost control. A snarl tore from his throat. He shifted mid-stride, body morphing seamlessly into human form as he sprinted the last stretch barefoot, muscles coiled, heart burning. Then he reached her cottage clearing and froze. Alara stood surrounded by moonlight, hair whipping in the wind, her silver eyes glowing in a way he had never seen. Power, soft but immense, radiated from her like heat from a fire. The rogue lay sprawled at her feet, groaning. And Alara Winter, looked divine. Ronan's chest tightened. His breath caught. His wolf whimpered, overwhelmed. Mate. Ronan stepped into the moonlight. Alara, he breathed. She turned toward him. He saw the fear in her eyes, the strength, the fragility, the power awakening beneath her skin. Ronan, she whispered, voice trembling. I don't know what's happening. He moved slowly, as though approaching something sacred. You awakened, he murmured. Your wolf, she's real. Alara swallowed. But wolves don't awaken this late. It's impossible. Ronan shook his head. No. Rare, but not impossible. He stepped closer. Alara, look at me. Her shimmering eyes lifted, and in that moment, Ronan knew the moon goddess had never made a mistake. He had. The rejection slammed into him with new clarity, brutal, suffocating. Alara. His voice cracked despite his alpha control. I was wrong. She froze. I rejected you because I thought I was protecting the pack. I thought you had no wolf. I thought you were too fragile to stand beside me. His breath shuddered, emotion finally breaking the dam. But you're stronger than any of us. Alara shook her head, tears spilling. You don't get to say that now, she whispered. Not after today. The rogue behind them groaned, crawling toward the shadows. Ronan's eyes snapped toward him, feral, murderous. He moved in a blur, grabbing the rogue by the throat and slamming him against a tree. A snarl ripped from Ronan's chest. You dare touch her? The rogue struggled, wheezing. Your pack rejected her. Your alpha cast her aside. She belongs to Ashbourne now. Ronan's fist silenced him. But before he could end the rogue's life, Alara's voice stopped him. Ronan. He froze. Her voice was soft, but held a strength that commanded attention. Let him go. Ronan growled, teeth clenched. He wanted to kill you. I know, she whispered. But killing him won't fix what's wrong between packs. And it won't fix what's wrong between us. Ronan's jaw tightened, but after a trembling breath, he released the rogue. The man collapsed, scrambling into the darkness before Ronan could change his mind. Silence fell. Alara hugged her arms around herself, trembling as adrenaline faded. Ronan turned to her, slowly, reverently. Alara, I need to tell you something. She looked away. Her heart cracked again. Don't, she whispered. Not out of guilt. It's not guilt, he said. It's truth. She shook her head, tears welling. You rejected me, in front of everyone. You made me feel unworthy. You made me believe the goddess had abandoned me. His chest tightened painfully. Alara, and now, she continued, voice breaking, now that I have a wolf, now you want to take it back? Ronan stepped closer, slow, cautious. No, he whispered, not because you have a wolf. He reached out but didn't touch her, hand hovering inches from her cheek. I want you because you're you. Alara choked on a breath. Ronan's voice softened to something raw and vulnerable. I want you because the moment you walked out of that hall, I felt like something inside me died. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. I couldn't. He swallowed hard. Alara, I am still yours. Her tears fell silently. She wanted to believe him, wanted to collapse into him, wanted to feel safe in his arms. But pain still lingered. Ronan, she whispered tremblingly. I don't know if I can trust you yet. Her honesty hit him like a blow. But he didn't argue. He nodded slowly, respect in his eyes. Then let me earn it, he said. The wind stirred between them. The moon brightened. Her heart throbbed painfully. And then, her wolf whispered through her mind. He was wrong. But he is not lost. Alara closed her eyes. Ronan, I need time. His chest ached, but he nodded. As long as you need. I'll wait. She opened her eyes, silver gleaming. But I won't stay in Mooncrest, she said. Ronan's breath caught. Where will you go? She looked toward the mountains. Mysterious, haunting, wild. To find out who I truly am, she whispered. And why my wolf awakened now. Ronan stepped forward again, emotion thick in his voice. Alara, let me come with you. She looked at him, tender, pained, hopeful. You can walk beside me, she murmured. But you don't get to lead me anymore. Ronan bowed his head. As you wish. A new dawn. Alara stepped into the moonlit path. Astri, her wolf, glowed faintly within her soul. Power hummed under her skin. Purpose stirred in her heart. Ronan followed a respectful distance behind. The forest around them felt both familiar and new, like a story beginning again. Alara looked up at the moon and whispered, It doesn't end like this. And the wind whispered back, No, this is where it begins.